great. He was an awesome person. Everybody loved Job. Job was great. Even God said that Job was a perfect and upright man. I hope God can look at me that way. Now, look at verse 13. There was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their elderly brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, the oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them. It's not a bad word in the Bible, but I don't want to get no room for error here. And the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Now, look at 16. And yet while he was speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God's fallen from heaven, and it burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Alright? Look at 17. And while he was speaking, there came another and said, the Chaldeans made 3 bands and fell upon the camels and carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And here we go again. And I'm the only one that escaped to tell you. I wish you quit coming to me and telling me anything. And while he was yet speaking, oh, here comes another one. There came another. Said, thy sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine. Elsewhere said, behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they're dead, and only I, have escaped to come and tell thee. Please don't let nobody else come around the corner. I mean, really, can you see Job at this point in his life? Job's a perfect man. He's been living good for God. He's been doing everything he knows that is right in the sight of the Lord. And all of a sudden, everything was going normal. Everything was great. And next thing you know, these people come walking out there to Job, and they say, look, everything you have been destroyed. Your kids have died. Your camels, all your oxen, all your sheep, everything's gone. It's been killed. Your house just fell down. Job's probably thinking, So, illustrate this. I have Diet Coke. Anybody like Diet Coke? No? Okay, well, we got a few. I like the real thing. I'm sorry. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but I want to give this to somebody. Steve, hold it. You can't drink it in church. I've got signs out here that says you can't drink it in church. All right, Steve. I just gave you a Diet Coke. Now, now Steve's going to be my Job today. Come here, Steve. Bless your heart. You got to come up here in front of everybody. Come up here and sit back here for me. You look so good today. Don't you look good? Yeah, one is for Baylor. That's right. Okay. All right. So I gave Steve a Diet Coke. 1 Diet Coke. Everybody got that? All right, now all of a sudden, Steve's got his Diet Coke in his hand, and he starts facing problems and troubles and things that I gave him. Now please stay with me. I gave Steve this Diet Coke. It came from me, right? Yeah. Give me my Diet Coke back. Come on now, give me my Diet Coke. Now your face is marching, and I want my Coke back. All right, so he's not letting me have my Diet Coke. But I'm going to take this. And you know what? He don't really know why. I just gave it to him, and all of a sudden I've taken it from him. Right? You know why I took that? They don't know. All right. Yeah. All right, so I gave him a Diet Coke. Now, I took the Diet Coke from him. He's sitting here without his Diet Coke, and he's wondering why I didn't do anything wrong. Please listen to me. I didn't do anything wrong for my Diet Coke to get took from me. I did what you asked me to do. Did I not ask him to come up on stage? Did he not do it? Okay, he did exactly what I told him to do, and I gave him a Diet Coke. And now all of a sudden, He'd done nothing wrong, and I took it from him. Job was sitting here wondering, okay, God, I've been an upright man, I've been a good man, I've done everything you've asked me to do, and now you've taken everything that you gave me to begin with. You see where I'm going with this? Job was probably wondering, well, I don't understand, God. I don't understand what's happened. I don't understand why you've allowed this to happen. His friends started saying, well, I think Job's saying, let's look at this. Look at verse 20. Then Job arose, went and ripped his mantle and shaked his head and fell down upon the ground. And what did Job do? Wow. And he said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. But, blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. Even though I gave Steve a Diet Coke, and I took it from Steve, I don't think Steve will walk out of here mad and upset at me and never talk to me again. I think Steve would be okay. He would still talk to you. Well, think about Job in this situation. Job has loved God, and Job has done all these things, and God took all this stuff away from him. He allowed these things to happen to him. And yet Job says, blessed be the name of the Lord. And then look at 22. In all this Job sinned not. How many times do you and I get mad at God and we start blaming God for everything? We get a bad attitude. We start treating people the wrong way because of what we're going through. Let me tell you something. Just because you're having a hard day doesn't give you an excuse to have a temper. I'm sorry, but it don't. Just because you're having a rough day doesn't give you an excuse to come home and be mean to your wife or your husband or your kids, or just because you don't like something, you come to church and you tell everybody what you think. It doesn't give you any excuse to throw a temper tantrum. Temper tantrums are for babies. I hope you're not a baby. Because even when we would look at this and we would say, if anybody's got a reason to quit on God, Job would have a good reason. He just lost everything. God gave him all this stuff. But let me tell you, Job's shelf life had a long expiration date. And he didn't give up when he could have. He didn't throw in the towel when he thought everybody thought he should have. His friends kept telling him, give up, Job. Quit, Job. Look at verse 15 when they said, look at this. Chapter 13. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. And I will maintain mine own ways before him. Otherwise, I will stay faithful to him. I will stay a perfect and upright man before God. Why? Even though he's taken stuff away from me, even if he slays me himself, yet will I trust him. Yet will I serve him. Yet will I go to church. Yet will I pay my tithe. Yet will I praise him even when I don't feel like it. Yet will I pray and read my Bible at night even when I'm tired. Why? Because though he slay me, yet will I be faithful to him because he's faithful to me. Though he slay me. Though he slay me, yet I will trust him. Regardless of everything he lost, his wife even come home and says, Job, just curse God and die, Job. Just curse God and die, Job. He was riding on empty. He had nothing left in the tank, and at this point, most people, their shelf life would have expired, their date would have ran out. But through all of this, Job still said, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. You know what Job had? Look at Isaiah 40:31. Passage you come to speak of. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew. You know what that means? The shelf life that you had that was getting ready to expire, when you wait on God, he's going to renew that shelf life. He's going to renew the shelf life. And they shall mount up with wings as eagles. You know what that tells me? That all those problems that you're looking face to face on, one day God's going to give you wings and you're going to mount up and fly over your problems. And you're looking down at you. You used to be a problem, and now you're not now. And it says, they shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. What that means is you're going to be able to have a long shelf life and endure things that you didn't after losing everything, think about something. He lost everything. Don't you think now if anything hit him the wrong way, he would be able to endure it? Because he had been through one of the worst things you could go through. Now you might be saying, well, I guess that means that Job, he doesn't have anything left. Listen, Job was in a position where he was waiting and trusting in God. But listen, as you're waiting, as you're trusting, as you're relying, guess what you're doing? You're gaining endurance. You're gaining peace. You're gaining strength. And then guess what that means? You're going to be effective to people around you because of your shelf life is getting longer and longer. You're gaining with God. Now, to close, Steve had a Diet Coke. I took his Diet Coke away. All right, Steve, look at verse 40, chapter 42, verse 12. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep. You might remember, but Job only had 7,000 when he started. And he had 6,000 camels. You might remember, but he only had 3,000 when he started. And 1,000 yoke of oxen, he only had 500 before. And 1,000 donkeys, he only had 500 of them before. Do you see what I just did? God doubled everything he took away from Job. So Steve, here's your Diet Coke. I'm giving him his Diet Coke. Here you go. But Steve, since you didn't waver on me, since you didn't give up on me, since you trusted in me, since you endured and you fought hard for me and you didn't sin against me, I'm going to give you double. Here you go, Steve. There's two. You know what that means? That means God says, you know what? Even though you're going to go through a hardship, even though you might lose some stuff, understand something. Even though some things might be taken away, if you stay faithful to me, I'll give you double back. You had some strength before. You had strength in me before, but if you'll stay strong, I'll give you double the strength next time. You had a little bit of faith in me before, but if you'll stay faithful to me, I'm going to give you double the faith. You had some kind of joy that you had joy overflowing, but if you'll stay faithful to me, then I'm going to give you double the joy. I'm going to give you double the peace. You see, if we'll endure mourning and hardships only last through a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Amen. And I believe that some of you are going through your night. You're going through a night right now, so to speak, in your walk with God. You're in a night. Your life is crumbling and you're at night. But if you'll hold on and you'll endure, understand that joy is going to come in the morning. The sun's going to rise again. It's not going to be dark forever. There's going to be a morning. You're going to get through it. Endure. Would you bow your heads with me, please? You have a seat. Bow your heads with me. Let me pray this morning. Father, I believe there are so many people here this morning, God, that are going through hardships, and their shelf life seems like it's just about to run out. They've went through so much, and their shelf life is just about to go. God, if we'll wait on you, you'll give us a long one. You'll help us endure. Father, I pray for every person that's here this morning, God, as we're about to give an altar call. Lord, I pray that those people that are dealing with these problems and hardships, and they don't know how they're going to get through them, and they need endurance to make it through.